Hello there, welcome to Consumer Studies and Grade 12. So this video we want to go through the question paper of November 2023. So within the context of this video, we are just going to present in terms of the question paper and required answers, how you are expected to answer the questions according to the marking guideline of the question paper of November 2023. So we are going to start on the instructions and information of the question paper. So going down to our next page where we have got the instructions and information. Of course, we are given a breakdown in terms of the question 1 to question 6 that are in the question paper. Of course, we've got section A, section B, and then our total marks. Of course, we are seeing that we have got 200 marks that consist of the question paper, and you are required to spend at most 180 minutes. So instruction number 2, also very important instruction that we have. All the questions are compulsory and must be answered in the answer book. So the most important part is they are compulsory, so you have to answer all the questions that we have in the question paper, no options. So we go to the first question of the question paper. We are now on section A, of course, multiple choice, and are going to our other section. You see that we have got our answers as presented. So we do have the first part, that is 1.1 to 1.1.3 as shown, and we see that our answers are also as are projected on the other side. So I'm moving on to the question 4 to question 6. These are the questions that we have, and of course on the answer part we have our answers as presented on the question 1.1.4 to 1.1.6. So we go on to the next part of our questions, which is 1.1.7 to 1.1.10. Now, of course, our answers are still on the same page on the marking guideline. Then I'm moving on to the next part now. We are now going to number 11. Of course, this is our number 11, whereby I will be able to start the picture below and answer the question that follows. Of course, the question reads: the vertical white pin strips on the jacket will make the wearer appear. Of course, the correct answer that we have is A, narrower and taller. Then we move on to the next part, question 12 to question 15. So in terms of our marking guideline, we have those answers as presented. Question 12 to question 15. So moving on to the next part of our question, we've got question 16. Then we move on to the next part, whereby you have to read the scenario below and use it in answer question 1.1.17 to 1.1.20. So of course these are the questions that we have, and this is the scenario given. So moving on to question 20. So moving on to the second part of our question, which is 1.2, whereby you have to give one term for each of the following descriptions. So in terms of our responses, this is our 1.2. Then moving on to 1.3, this is our part. And then in terms of 1.3, of course, we have our responses as also projected, whereby with 1.3.1 to 1.3.3. So moving on to 1.4. So this is our 1.4, and of course we put our responses. And also we have our 1.5, which marks at the end of our section A with a total of 40 marks. So I'm moving on to question 2. We've got 2.1 to 2.9. So these are our responses from 2.1 to 2.3. Then I'm moving on to further responses. We have from now at 2.4. So 2.4, these are our responses. 4 ways of saving electricity when cooking. Of course, we've got many points, but of course, in terms of your answer book, we are supposed to only to come up with 4. So moving on to 2.5, this is our responses for 2.5. So moving on to 2.5.2. This is what we have. Two 2.6 and 2.7. Of course, we've got our questions on this part. Then we move on to our 2.8. 2.9. So moving on to our 2.10. Of course, 2.9, the question says explain how high consumer price index CPA may affect South African consumers. So in terms of our response for 2.9, this is our response for 2.9. Then in terms of 2.10, so moving on to our question 3. So these are questions on food and nutrition. These are the questions that we have. So we move on to present the responses that we have. So of course, on question 2.10, we have got a continuation of those responses as given. So question 3, we have got question 3.1.1 to 3.1.2 as given. So we move on to 3.1 to 3.2.1 to 3.2.2. Then we move on to 3.3 and 3.4. So moving on, we've got 3.5 as shown. So this is what we have. We move on to 3.6 to 3.8. So question 3.9, the question 3.9.2. We've got our responses at 3.9.1. And then move on to 3.9.2. So moving on to question 4. So these are responses from 4.1 to 4.3. And of course 4.4. So question 4.5. We also have our response for question 5. So question 5. So our responses for 5.1 and 5.2. So 4.3. These are 5.3. State the main differences are between full title home ownership and sectional title ownership, home ownership. So in terms of our response for 5.4. And our 5.5. and our response for 5.5. In terms of our question 6, and of course 6.1 and 6.2. Then I move on to 6.3. So moving on to 6.4 and 6.5, and also partly 6.6. So for 6.7, you would read the case study below and answer the questions that follow. So we have 6.7.1. So these are our responses for 6.7.1. And question for 6.7.2. And 6.7.3 to 6.7.5. In terms of our 6.7.5, the continuation. So basically this is what we have, guys, according to this video. Thank you for listening, and hopefully the video was helpful. And please let's not forget more question papers and memos are going to be uploaded on this channel. So let's stay tuned, let's subscribe, let's share the video to our colleagues who are doing great consumer studies. As for this video, I'm signing out. We'll meet again in the next video.